Golden Freddy is one of the biggest and oldest mysteries of Five Nights at Freddy's. From the first game, the meaning, identity, and just whole point of this yellow bear has bewildered fans to this day. While most FNAF fans can easily assign what murdered kid's soul resides in which animatronic, Golden Freddy's identity isn't as agreeable, with the biggest debate being that Golden Freddy is the bite victim from FNAF 4, or is the fifth kid from the missing children incident. But who is that fifth missing kid? In FNAF 6, we see the graves of those missing kids, and we know it's their graves due to the FNAF novel, The Fourth Closet. While this novel series takes place in a different continuity from the games, it's clear that the kids that appear in this book, like Susie, a blonde little girl who was lured with the promise her dead dog was still alive, is adapted directly from the game's story. And fans have also pointed out the similar positioning between the FNAF 3 good ending heads and the gravestones. Gabriel is Freddy, Fritz is Foxy, Susie is Chica, Jeremy is Bonnie, and the one in the back is the puppet, watching over them.
The others are under my protection.
And then there is this hidden grave. Most FNAF fans already know this, but in the FNAF Survival Logbook, there was a series of hidden clues that eventually led fans to find a name hidden in the logbook's word search. That name? Cassidy. It's clear that the game's creator hid the name in FNAF 6 so that it would be a mystery for fans to solve using the logbook. FNAF 6 came out in December 2017, and the book came out later that same month. And the name Cassidy has reappeared in other parts of the series. In the continuity of The Fourth Closet, it seems like Cassidy possesses one of the regular 4 animatronics, because Golden Freddy is already accounted for by Michael Brooks, a character who does not appear in the game's continuity. And in a post by Scott Cawthon, he labeled one of the scrap scripts for the FNAF movie adaptation as the Cassidy script. It's clear the name Cassidy is what's meant to be in this grave. In fact, the Five Nights at Freddy's Ultimate Guide outright states that the name in the logbook is for the name on the grave. Knowing that these other graves are the names of the missing kids killed by William Afton, it only makes sense that this grave is the 5th kid from that incident, who would be Golden Freddy if we go off the FNAF 2 Give Gifts, Give Life minigame. But that's not where the story of the missing kids end. Most fans know that the FNAF 3 minigames portray the souls of the missing kids being given their happiest day, with the Golden Freddy kid being celebrated at a birthday party, and all their souls being set free, seemingly. But the problem of the Golden Freddy identity debate comes when you consider that the FNAF 3 minigames are visually connected to the FNAF 4 minigames. Toy Chica is the tiny Toy Chica with the missing beak, Balloon Boy is this kid with the balloon, Mangle is the broken Mangle toy in the sister's room, Shadow Bonnie is the literal shadow of Spring Bonnie we see on the wall, Stage 01 is Fredbear and Spring Bonnie on stage, and Happiest Day is a flip of the bite victim's death, a happy birthday. And if you're not too familiar with the series, and those connections seem like a stretch, they're actually reinforced in FNAF World. The clock root of the game, which makes huge references to FNAF 4, also calls back to those FNAF 3 minigames. So, one of the longest enigmas of the series comes from the confusion that the FNAF 3 minigames are about bringing joy to those missing kids' souls, and giving the 5th murdered child their birthday. Or if it's about giving the FNAF 4 bite victim his birthday. If it is Cassidy, then does that mean she was murdered on her birthday too? Well, it doesn't seem so, because in the FNAF VR Climax Pizza Party, we play as a kid who was lured into the back room with his favorite flavor of cake. A cake that says happy birthday on it, and this kid ends up being stuffed in Freddy. In the back room, we can see that there are already animatronics there, Chica and Bonnie, aka Susie and Jeremy. We know from Ultimate Custom Night that Chica claims to be the first kid murdered in the incident.
I was the first.
So it makes sense why she's already there. And in FNAF Security Breach, we see these color-coded numbers. We already know Chica was the first, Bonnie was the second, hence the purple 2, Freddy would be the third, Foxy would follow with the reddish-orange 4, and then it would be the 5th murdered kid, a golden 5, Golden Freddy. All of this would mean that the missing children's incident happened on Gabriel's birthday, the 3rd murdered kid who possesses Freddy, not Cassidy's. But does that mean we can completely disregard the idea that FNAF 3's Happiest Day was for Cassidy? I don't think so. The Fazbear Frights book series is confirmed to be canon in some form, and made to fill in the gaps of the past. These stories portray ghosts and the afterlife in the FNAF universe as being based on emotion and memory. The character Jake possesses the Stitch Wraith, but sometimes he imagines himself being at a baseball game with his dad. A memory. He was reliving an afternoon at a baseball game with his dad. It felt so real, and Jake began to feel as if he was being sucked out of the thing he was in. He felt like he was a puff of smoke, and he was being borne by an air current away from the being that had contained him. He could feel himself being pulled into the memory itself, and he intuitively understood that if he was enveloped in the memory, he could stay in a happy place forever. This is Jake's happiest day, his heaven, but he chooses not to pass on due to other factors in the plot. Jake also has another happiest day of him being at a birthday party in Fazbear Frights 11, but the book makes sure to point out that it isn't a memory, it's a dream. He never actually had that birthday party in his living life. It wasn't even a memory. Jake needed to wake up. He wasn't safe where he was in real life, and the dream had lured him to a false sense of security, and yet it was so tempting to stay where he was now, where everything felt so happy and cozy. So the afterlife in the FNAF universe can manifest differently based on the person. It can be a memory from your living life that your soul lives forever in, or it can be a dream, something that never happened, but something you could have wanted to happen. Fazbear Frights also brings up the idea of spirits infecting things, and souls being split into pieces. I have done numerous experiments to measure, capture, contain, and study the leftover emotion embedded into objects that were near a tragedy. My work is focused on my hypothesis that you can take a saturation of agony and any kind of intelligence, even an artificial one, and they will combine together, transmute the energy of emotion into the energy of a physical action. This, I believe, is what explains what people call haunted objects. We see this with Andrew.
I got to this big place with lots of cool stuff. All I can remember after that is wanting to be everywhere. I can remember being all over the place, and all kinds of things.
Later in the series, the Stitch Wraith finds all the infected items and tries destroying them in order to put an end to the suffering they're causing. Using this idea, it seems like the FNAF 4 references in the Happiest Day minigame are infections from the FNAF 4 bite victim. All those visual references are about things he saw on the days leading up to his death. An emotionally powerful time, considering that he was crying. The powers of tears is something tackled in the Silver Eyes novels, with Henry's tears being the thing that gives life to the original Ella doll, which is the basis he uses to rebuild his dead daughter, Charlie. And in Fazbear Frights, Phineas also uses tears as a comparison to how emotional energy works. Human emotion is slower to impact, more insidious. It emanates from us, or is excreted from us, if you will, like sweat or tears, like a noxious cloud soaking into the surroundings. The visual references to FNAF 4 and the FNAF 3 minigames are the bite victim's memories. While the role of the bite victim in the story is debatable, it's clear he's important to the story in some way, and so it makes sense his memories would infect the world the missing kids' souls are trapped in. This is supported by the fourth closet. While not in the same continuity, we see that Carlton is infected with the remnant from the missing kids. He ends up in their spirit world. If the bite victim's pieces infected multiple parts of this universe, then the spirit world would reflect that. And that's not the only example of a character in FNAF ending up in someone else's afterlife. Larson is sent through the memories of multiple Fright characters in Fazbear Frights 10, and in Fazbear Frights 11, Jake goes into those same memories and gives them all happy endings. If the bite victim had infected all of these souls, then Happiest Day doesn't have to be an either-or situation of it being about the bite victim or about Cassidy. It can be about bringing all the 5 murdered children together, and in doing so, you're also putting the bite victim back together. Then again, Cassidy still seems to be around in Security Breach, so maybe this is the bite victim, and maybe Cassidy never had a chance to truly move on.